Yeah, I played VR chat for the first time ever, and it is definitely one of the games of all time. Going into it, I would say I knew essentially nothing other than the odd meme here or there. The most famous case, of course, being the
Do you know the way?
trend. My idea of the game being people in exceedingly strange avatars being weird. So is that what it's like? Or maybe it's actually just a cool way to socialize and create a social circle in a digital space. The advantage being that everyone is a ridiculous character and there's no way to discriminate, so everyone is on an equal playing field. On a side note, the footage you will see was not from the few hours or so that I'm going to discuss in this video. My goal is to look at this in the most objective way possible. I wasn't trying to elicit reactions from people, and I wanted to come into it completely neutral. Before I dive into the various worlds, let's talk about one of the first things that you see in the game when you load it up. This 2-minute talk thing. The game essentially guides you there as a new player. You hop in on an Omegle-style chat room and match with a rando. This hub world is actually really horrifying. One of the times I matched with an actual child. I'm not sure what can be done about the moderation side of this game, but it literally does not exist. Very quickly, I'll mention I went to a bar type level, and I could hear a little kid speaking on the mic about to go in. I had to actually stop what I was doing and explain that this was not a place for children. Then the kid scrammed off into another world. That brings me to another point. There are worlds where you can play videos simply by putting in a URL. There are zero restrictions on what you can put in there. Really off-putting because you'll quickly learn a big portion of the VR chat world is privatized. I'm not going to outright say there's a PDF file problem in this game, but the lack, and I truly mean 0% of moderation, means there is a lot of opportunity for nefarious activity. Through the time I have played, I have not seen anything weird, relatively speaking, because it's VR chat. So it's not like I'm accusing this of being a regular occurrence, only that I could see it happening in the underbelly away from the public eye. It is worth mentioning that you should not play this game if you are easily offended. Worlds sound like the original Modern Warfare 2 lobbies back in the day. Plenty of N-words being thrown around and lots of offensive avatars that I definitely cannot discuss if I want this video to stay up. One more thing, if you're interested in playing VR chat and you are just starting out on the Quest 2, you need to go to a world called Dolish. There's a keypad there and you type 0042 then enter. Click on this thing that says Strek, because VR chat, and it transports you to this big arena. Click on the red orb to the right of the keyboard. Now you can type whatever costume you're looking for. Just make sure that you don't hit enter on the keyboard, and instead click on the red orb to the left. You can click on this thing to look in the mirror, and I also recommend changing your walk speed because the costume list goes long. Alright, so now we have arrived to the meat and potatoes of VR chat, which is the various worlds you get to explore. I will go ahead and say I did not join the role-playing worlds because I would definitely die from cringe. No amount of research can get me to try that. Naturally, since I did not want to, talk to children, I decided to load up bar worlds. Again, there's no real way to stop children from entering these places, but there are simple barriers that would likely be a good filter. Just from walking around, you could tell that most people were adults who were drunk off their ass. I spent a good hour or so in VR chat just walking around, not trying to talk to anyone. Just listening to the various conversations people are having there. Some people are drunk and flirting with each other. Some people are doing Twitch streaming, getting cringe reactions. And other people are playing drinking games. I've heard one conversation of these people describing some VR chat beef. Something about someone getting kicked. I legitimately thought that because I was standing there, they were putting on a bit with me. Like, oh, hey, here's a new guy. Let's mess with him by putting on a show. No, I was wrong. One guy literally ran off crying, mad as hell. And the other guy was trying to, mediate this beef. It was so nuts. That was the first moment of, oh yeah, this is kind of what I envisioned this game to be. And what I mean by that is not really my thing. Just a little weird and theatrical for my liking. Keep in mind, I was only playing in 15 to 20 minute increments at first, just because it's such a jarring experience for the first couple of times you play it. On maybe my third time going in at it, I ran into a couple of guys and started chatting with them. Going into it, I had this idea that people played this on Meta Quest headsets like I am. I found out very quickly that I was kind of in the minority. The core group of VR chat users are all running it on PC with full body rigs. Rigs that cost normally over $1,000, may I add. It was interesting just to hear about how a good number of them started playing during the pandemic, which makes a lot of sense. Over the course of time, many of them stayed and upgraded their rigs the more they got into it. These guys I was talking to also helped me put 2 and 2 together. I saw that the most populated worlds in VR chat had over 1K concurrent users on them, and yet the public lobbies had one big room with 40-ish people in it, and others had 8 to 10 in them. I figured the public lobbies are in a weird way window dressing, and the actual populated rooms are all privatized. And yeah, that is pretty much how it works. At the end of the first day, I ended up getting into a private room with some people I met. It was a virtual home, and in one room there was a big TV screen. Over the course of a few hours, we were bullshitting, some people were doing funny bits with their VR characters, and eventually people would just throw on music. Like I said in this video, I didn't want to record any of this experience. I didn't set out to make a video for a meme review or to make fun of anybody. I really could care less what people spend their time in VR chat doing. I knew if I was recording people, they would act differently around me. I also wasn't trying to infiltrate social circles. I just wanted to give this a genuine try. I wanted to know if an average or normal, or as normal as someone who makes a PNG tuber video can be, if they could get into something that from an outside perspective seems so weird. When I told some of my friends I was going to play VR chat, they thought I was really weird. A lot of people think the idea of VR chat is dystopian, like it's going to be the downfall of humanity. The idea of socializing in VR in this manner is akin to those like pod people in WALL-E. So is that what it's like? Did I participate in the apocalypse of the human experience? I'm not sure, but I can at least report it didn't feel like it was in the moment. Those moments I spent with internet randos just felt like old chat rooms from the beginning stages of the internet, but instead of staring directly at a chat box, I was in a virtual world. Hanging out in that virtual house and thumbing through people's music choices just made me feel like I was at a college party again. Just a bunch of goofballs hanging out. Of course, there is a world where VR chat can be taken too far. I'm sure there are plenty of people who spend every day in there for hours on end. Personally, yeah, I think that can be damaging for someone. At some point, you just have to lose your grip on reality. Also, as in any other party environment, you can dive into bad habits. As an adult, if you wanted to find someone to encourage you to drink every day, you could do that. But that doesn't make VR chat different than any other vice in the world. For some people, they can have a few drinks here and there and have a great time. For other people, the wheels can come off until you can't stop yourself. For my tiny 3-hour experience, I'll say the very existence of VR chat is not a sin onto the world. The large majority of people on there are adults who just want to socialize with a bunch of other silly people. Would I recommend other people check out VR chat? I mean, I think I probably would. You'll see weird and random stuff. I mean, yeah, you're playing VR chat. What did you expect? But don't think that is all this game has to offer. You'll find out like 90% is just adults being silly, hanging out with other people, as long as you go to the normal worlds. As for myself, I think I will log on every once in a while, just because it's a fun escape from reality here and there. So what do you guys think? Have you ever played VR chat before? What do you think about the game, even if you have never played? Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.